So Maureen, thank you so much for being here with us at the Women in Competition Conference. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. One question that I wanted to raise is whether there has been a trend towards moving away from more standard horizontal unilateral theories of harm. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, thanks, Ethel. Thanks for the question and thanks for having me. I'm happy to talk about these issues. I think that horizontal effects are always going to be the bread and butter of antitrust enforcement. The competitive issues there are well understood, the economics are well established. It's where we have, I think, the safest ground for knowing where the problems may arise. But certainly every antitrust case, every merger case is highly based on the facts at hand. So when you have horizontal mergers coming in the door, of course you're going to do a horizontal analysis, and when you have a vertical merger coming in the door, you're going to do a vertical analysis. And there have been some recent big vertical cases that I think have gotten attention. You use the standard traditional tools in a vertical analysis. Is there going to be some sort of exclusion? Is there some input exclusion or distributional exclusion, or is there some sort of problematic information sharing? And I think the analysis have relied on those. When you look at some of the FTC cases, the Northrop Orbital ATK matter, or the recent Staples Ascendant case, where you're saying, okay, there's some problem there and we can use a behavioral remedy to address it, but still allow the merger to go through. So while I think there's a lot of debate about whether antitrust is sufficient and doesn't have the right tools, and some of this involves vertical issues, I don't actually see a trend in enforcement where things are really going in a different direction. There's still enforcement, there's still analysis, theories get examined, but in the end, the kinds of deals that are permitted or permitted with a remedy, I think we're looking at the kind of well-known areas where we understand the type of competitive harms that may happen. Now, with that being said, I think it is important to continue to try to improve antitrust, and it's always worth examining, is there some competitive harm that's happening that somehow our tools aren't sensitive enough to address. But I think it's very, very important to continue to focus on being a competitive harm, not simply an idea that one big company can't get bigger or can't expand into a completely adjacent market, or into a vertical relationship that might actually ultimately benefit consumers by enabling a more efficient provision of services.
And how about coordinated effects in particular? Because there has been given a lot of attention, perhaps as a result of Tronox Cristal. Mm-hmm. So maybe can you give us a little bit of an overview of what evidence competition authorities will be looking at in assessing coordinated effects concerns?
Yes. I actually just recently went back and reviewed the horizontal merger guidelines in the US, which were updated in 2010, and they do talk about coordinated effects and the type of markets and situations where you might have a coordinated effects concern, where you have a product that's not highly differentiated, where you have transparent pricing, where you have a more concentrated market. And we have seen allegations in complaints, Tronox Crystal being one of the most recent ones, also going back to Holcim Lafarge, who also had a similar concern about coordinated effects in those markets. So I think it's an area where, again, we have guideposts. They need to be applied, but there's only certain markets where a coordinated effect story really seems likely, and we know it from characteristics of the market, from the economic evidence, and occasionally from internal documents from the parties.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was great to have you.
You're welcome. Thanks so much.